Ignite instructors may not know your name. Bring that each session and put it up.
All right, welcome. Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
I did Ignite After Dark.
Okay.
Great. Is that the same?
It is the same generally, but here you're going to be learning from agents that are actually part of this brokerage during this session. So some of the material might be a little more specific to our brokerage and kind of how things work here in Richmond. I think the Ignite After Dark was more of a whole
Yeah,
overview from the whole.
right. So this will cover more things that are specific to our MLS
Okay.
and our rules and regs when we get into contracts and negotiation and things like that. What's interesting to note is that these classes were designed to be an entire day. And the Ignite After Dark was like 2 hours. These are 3 hours. So each person may not cover the exact same material. That's why it is good for you to like afterwards go through the manual online and go, oh, we didn't do this exercise. Let me do this for myself, kind of thing. So yeah.
All right, so good morning. Welcome. This is our first Ignite class, and Patrice and I have done this now 3 times together.
Mhm.
And we do it together because we are the PC coaches, and so we want to kind of introduce you to this whole program because it's geared for anyone, but it's really geared nicely for our new agents that are coming on board. So today we're going to start with just the most important part of being a new agent is getting your mindset straight, understanding the culture of KW, kind of knowing what KW really does stand for when we're out there representing ourselves and the company. So we're going to be going through a lot of that, and that's also going to be talking about how you're going to set your goals, how you're going to get your business kind of off the ground mentally, physically, emotionally, and then we're going to dive into all the elements.
You feel it.
All right, so welcome to those online. So glad you're here. And you guys, please, if you have a question, you can either speak out, and I may not be looking for your hand raised, but just you could butt in and say, I have a question, and we can take a pause. All right, so moving forward, you know, you got your PCPA rules. We all know that. We have to always remember that we follow that. Okay, so this is just kind of an overview, but what we'll be doing throughout this whole session is we're going to go through different areas of your business. We're starting now with mindset. We're going to go into lead gen. It's going to be the second part, and there's going to be a number of sessions that have to do with lead gen. You're going to learn from some of our top agents that do great lead gen, and there's so many different ways to generate your business through social media, through just relationship building, through your sphere, and also through other means that you start to learn as you get more involved in your business. Okay, so it does talk about a breakdown of this is like a full day, and we're going to squeeze that into 3 hours. So it's going to be like we're going to be on fast forward. There's going to be some things we'll skip over too that we feel like they're not really important to what we need to do today, but yeah. So today, we're talking about being a real estate expert, like what we do to be the best real estate agent we can be, learning kind of our goals and how to meet those goals, and also doing it with, with as much skill base as possible. As I said, the next part will be lead gen, which we'll go into after, I believe, starting next week, and then is it starting Wednesday?
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I go over some of it in my section too with goals.
But then the lead follow-up, that just means we're also going to talk about contracts, negotiations, all of the important things to get you through your business and to get you to a close to actually earn some money. And then, so that's going to be your transactions. Yeah. So today we're doing Spark Your Career. And all right, so we're ready to roll. I have to speed through all that. All right, so first of all, just a real quick welcome from me. I am Peggy Thibodeau. I am an agent here I'm in my third year. I'm excited to be here. Thank you. I know, can't believe I'm saying that.
I
It's
know.
just like gone by so fast. I took Ignite 3 times and I got something new out of it every single time. And every time I took it, I learned more on top of what I'd learned before that made more sense because I was doing more business. I come from a background of owning a business, so I have the entrepreneurial experience, but I absolutely was so far away from real estate, you couldn't imagine. I was a dance and theater teacher. I owned a dance studio for 20 years. And I know, it's so funny. So I kind of came upon real estate because I wanted to find something where I could be an entrepreneur, I could work with people, and I could also make a little more money. So that was one of my reasons for joining real estate. And it has been honestly, surprisingly, really fun and really fulfilling. I wasn't sure what to expect, but as I've gone through this journey and being here at KW, it's really kind of really tapped into who I am as a human. And I feel like I found my place. And there's so much more to it than just selling real estate. So that's my journey.
And I will add, because she won't say it for herself, she was rookie of the year for rookie year.
I was, to my surprise. I was not really expecting that, but it was a good first year. I felt like things really got going, and I owe it a lot to Ignite. I owe it a lot to this brokerage and to Patrice and the PC program. Without it, I would have not been able to do what I did. So that's why you're here, right? That's why everybody's here. Yeah, so we have in the room Linda. Linda, just real quick, you want to tell us kind of where you are in your journey?
So, I began real estate in 2022 in California. And I have a marketing background, so, I began because I wanted to start investing, and I also wanted to help educate, the community on how to access real estate and, home ownership.
Yes.
So, I recently, in the past 6 months, relocated to Virginia. I want to maintain my license. I want to learn about the community. And, I say assimilate, but Virginia is a beautifully placed between the Northeast and the Southeast, and I love it here.
Good, welcome.
Thank
Yeah, it's a
you.
pretty great place.
Yeah.
And we have Ellen, who's been a part of our brokerage for what,
I think early November I started maybe,
Okay,
that one.
tell us a little bit
but
about-
been in, yeah, it's been in
Okay, yeah,
business.
so I started like midway through 2023, so it's been a little under 2 years. I was at a team, the Hogan Group, which did internet-based leads. So all I was doing for about a year and a half, a little under, was converting internet-based leads. So 0 relationship building, 0 running a business, all the things that actually give you longevity in real estate. So, I
They
did
do that to keep you hungry,
They do. It's,
instead of teaching you how to run a
yeah,
business.
so what I did learn and why I do like the decision I made was that I learned, I did a lot of transactions and I learned the contract and I learned how to sell real estate very well. I did not learn how to maintain a lifestyle in a business in doing so. So yeah, so that's why I came here, but, I also invest in real estate, own 3 houses here. And so, wanting to I do work with investors, but I want to be able to build that a little bit more too.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're coming into it already as an investor, which is
Yeah,
great.
Yep.
So it gives you a whole different perspective too.
Ask me in 6 months, we'll have another.
Oh, good.
Well, good, that's great. Well, and I think it's good, even though you've had enough transactions to learn this, and I commend you for being here, because this will set the foundation for what you're building to grow and make even
I
better.
hope so. I have no idea what to expect today, so I was gonna show up regardless.
Good, well,
I don't
keep
know, I don't
coming.
know what today is.
Well, I think
Well,
if you haven't done this yet, I think you'll learn some things about KW that you may not have known.
Yeah.
That we're gonna go over.
and then for your business.
Yeah, for your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so Riley, I'm gonna choose you first. You're first in line on my screen. So tell us a little bit of why you're here and where you are at this point.
Hello, I'm Riley. I officially got licensed in August and I've been coming to the office since May. I graduated from JMU in May. Um, and I've always kind of had an interest in real estate. My husband is in contracting and also an investor. So it kind of works out for us to work together. And I'm currently working on his third house, selling his third, well, he's flipped a lot of others, but this is my third one that I'm selling, which is exciting. But yeah, I'm excited to be here, and I think we all always need good reminders for mindset and encouragement.
Riley's got a listing right now under contract, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Alexis. Hi, Alexis. I'm sorry you don't feel well today, but thanks for being here.
Hi, Peggy. Thank you. I appreciate it. I have had my license for almost 3 years. I was with another brokerage before KW, and I had no training, so I wasn't practicing real estate. I joined KW in this past June, and I'm currently working with a client and nurturing some others. Yeah, I love it here.
And she's had a big win. She got a client that wants to buy 2 properties, so awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you, Alexis. And then Lyndon, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I have had my license for a couple of months. I think it's been actually probably more than a couple. And I actually got to start out with an assistant role, assisting a really just very fast-paced agent who was doing business and transactions over and over, and I got to be her transaction coordinator for a little bit, and then I decided to go on my own and realized that I needed to do a little bit more of education for myself, and that's where I found KW. And the reason I got into real estate was my real estate agent who was with KW. She's just the whole experience with her was an overall amazing experience and kind of led me into this real estate realm. And now I'm in PC and I enjoy it. And I feel like I've gotten a lot within the time frame that I've been here. So I'm excited for it.
It's funny. It's interesting to find that some of you have come from other brokerages. And I think you'll find that, and I haven't been a part of another brokerage, but just based on what I've learned from people who have, this education is crucial to be successful. That's an opinion, but I also think it's a fact. It's that. It's crucial. I mean, you can't go into anything not knowing, have any guidance by people who do know how to do the business. So that's what's so valuable about this. So today we're going to dive into the KW culture. One of the things about Ignite is it really gets your mind to think in different ways about your business. And learning the culture is a really great foundation in building that successful business. Because if we don't have culture, we could really make a lot of bad mistakes with a lot of the things that are important in real estate. We can also find ourselves burning out because we don't have that culture to hold on to. So there's a lot of reasons why we really drive that home. The values of our center, also kind of unlimited ways of thinking. That's something we're going to tap into. And just your career vision, like really nailing into, honing in on what your career vision is, what that looks like to you. And what I love about Gary Keller, when I listen to a lot of the podcasts he's done, he really does say your dream and your vision is yours. Someone could dream to have just a business of 100,000 a year and be happy. Another person may want $1 million business, and that's what they're dreaming for. So it's really based on what you find is right for you and your lifestyle and how you want to live. All right, so sorry, fumbling on myself. Okay, so with someone in here, Linda, would you like to read this out loud?
Anyone can do it. Not everyone will. Will you?
Okay, so that's a Gary Keller-ism. We call them Keller-isms. So I like that because it's like, yeah, anyone can do this, right? But not everyone will, which means everyone can get their license, but not everyone's gonna put the work in, not everyone's gonna actually do the things that are required to get you to, to having an actual business. And then the choice here is, will you do that? It's your turn to decide that. All right. So these are our 6 personal perspectives. Now, this is a great way to break down just 6 ways to think about how you're going to approach your business. Number 1 is commit to self-mastery. I love this one because I find now being in the coaching seat, I think one of the hardest things for people to learn as they become a new agent is how to be a self-starter, how to find the motivation to master the skills you need, because it's all up to you. So self-mastery really means you are like making your business happen because you are putting the work in and trying to master your skills. So I think the self-mastery piece is really crucial to getting your business started. Part of a mindset that we don't want to miss, because if you don't really have an idea of where you're headed and you're just throwing yourself into it, it's not going to stick because you don't have something in front of you that you know you want to reach, something tangible, something like setting goals is so important. And by having that goal, going through the steps to get to that goal requires self-mastery. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. All right, so when we commit to that, it really means we're committing to the whole thing. We're committing to taking these classes. We're committed to showing up to the sales meetings. We're committed to learning from our other agents, committing to the fact that we're always learning. We're never going to know it all. We're never going to know. I mean, you're going to find every deal is different. Everything is new in that deal. Like, you're going to find so many different things that will be continuing to be about self-mastery. Okay, so number 2 is commit to the 80-20 principle. Would anyone, I'm going to ask someone online, would someone online like to explain the 80-20 principle if you know what that means? Just give a stab at it.
I believe it is, maybe not me. I'm sorry, I thought I
And say what you think. It's okay. This is a safe space. Just remember, this is where we can say whatever we want.
We learn.
We're learning. Yeah. She went on.
Your actions, it's like something with your actions and then results.
Is it like
They're
80%?
yes.
Like 80%.
like what you do 90 days from now.
Right, yes. Yes, Alexis, you're right. It's about actions and results, really. Because if you think about, like, this is the way I see it. In real estate, we have 2 ways to approach lead gen. We could call 50 strangers and just introduce ourselves, and maybe we get a conversation, maybe we don't. Or we could choose 10 people we do know, tell them what you're doing, ask them to help you out if you know anybody. Do you think those 10 people you know are going to be way more result driven than the 50 people you don't know? So you have to look at your business as putting in 20% after effort to get 80% results means you're working smarter, not harder. And that's really important, because I worked in a lead gen business outside of this for a very short time. I got my insurance license. Bad idea. I thought, oh, I'll get my insurance license, it'll be easy. I mean, I passed the test and I got in with a large company, and they said, here, leads, go. And I had to make 100 phone calls a day. And it was horrible. It was the worst experience I'd ever had. And it was like beating yourself up against a wall. It was like, I hit a wall every time. And then the people I got were so vulnerable and so not prepared. And so, it was just like, it tugged at my whole, emotional way of working. So that to me was completely against the 80-20 principle. I was putting in 80% of the work and getting not even 20% result. So coming into real estate and joining KW, learning that there are ways to start your lead gen that makes sense, that build your business. And yes, it's true. Putting in that 20% effort to get that 80% result is what we want to try to work for. And we want to learn, we are going to learn the skills on how to do that. So let me ask one of you, anybody in the room or wherever, what do you think is the most dollar productive activity of real estate? Anybody? Just
I'm not sure I understand the question, but I was like your sphere. I'm not
okay.
sure I
So your
understand the
sphere.
question.
So rephrase. So what would you guess is the most dollar productive activity? Which means what activity will bring you the most money, the most bang for your buck
The
Lead
phone-
gen.
that you do in real estate? And there's no right or wrong answer, really.
Make phone calls?
Lyndon said
Yeah.
something.
Lyndon, what you said?
Is it door knocking?
Door knocking could be one way. Now, let's be more specific with door knocking. Do you think just random door knocking, picking somewhere and just door knock and be done and not have any reason to door knock? Do you think that's effective, or what would be the most effective door knocking? Lyndon, I'll let you continue.
I think Riley said lead gen.
Lead gen, so that is a form of lead gen, yes. So door knocking, what's really interesting about that is, what, all of us are a little fearful of walking up to a stranger's door and knocking on the door and saying, hi, I'm Peggy and I'm a real estate agent, how are you?
I'm a vulnerable female.
You wanna buy,
Yeah.
you wanna buy or sell? But if you have sold a house in the neighborhood, do you think that would be an ideal area to go through and knock on doors and introduce yourself? It is magic, y'all. Just talking to the neighbors, like I sold 2 houses in Northside and I've talked to 2 neighbors there just randomly and both want to eventually sell their houses. We've talked, I give them my card, they continue to contact me. I mean, it's just like that, it works so much easier if you think about the reason why you would door knock and what would make the most sense and how you can make yourself the most valuable to that person who you're door knocking. What's one other way? We'll just do one other way. I think you said
Oh, I was just like, calls to your sphere.
your sphere,
Yeah.
yes. So your sphere was people you know, your family, your friends, people that you may know through organizations, through college friends, you know, if you're in a sorority or fraternity or, you know, a church group, anything like that, they're gonna know you already, so you're halfway there in the trust building. So that's kind of what you want to think about is like, what is going to be the activities that you do that are going to bring you the most likely business? And that's where you don't want to, that will feed into that 80-20 principle. All right, so now we're going to go move from E to P. Oh, here we go. I knew this one forward in the slides. The clicker thing is
It's
a new
amazing.
concept. All right, moving from E to P. Now this one is a little bit more challenging because we are all considered entrepreneurs. And you guys, does everyone understand what that word really does mean? Yeah, it means you own your own business. And in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to get up every day and show up for yourself. You have to be someone who's going to do the work for you. No one's going to do that for you. It's you. And it's up to you how much success you have in your business. So when we do that approach, we go out there, we put ourselves out there. We may have a win and we're up in the air shouting, yay, win. And then all of a sudden the wind gets pulled out from underneath you and you're like back to square one or maybe square two, but you've had a letdown. You've had what you would think of as maybe a failure, what you think of as a failure. You go through this cycle where you find yourself really, really celebrating your win, then you get disappointed, you pull yourself back, you're kind of back from the beginning, you have to get your mojo back up and keep going. that can happen to an entrepreneur who doesn't really have a purpose, a purposeful business. If you think about changing that idea to the purposeful approach, so focusing, using your models and systems for you, all of those have purpose. It's like taking your business and putting it in something that actually works. It's like a machine that's over there working for you while you continue to move your business. When you do this side, you're kind of on side 9 because you actually got a client, they're interested in buying, then they go with a different agent. You're so disappointed. Then you have to resign the fact that you lost that client. Man, you cry. You go through all the emotions. And then you have to go, well, there's something better on the other side somewhere. And then you've got to kind of get another win. So you're in this cycle of kind of being on what I would consider a trajectory that's not a trajectory. It's more of just a straight line. The trajectory is you focus on your business, you go out and you get your business, whatever the result is, you stay focused, you use the models that are in place, like ways to automate your lead gen, ways to create a system where you're continually nurturing people, and then you'll find the wins will start to happen. Even amongst the ones that don't win, you're still in that mode of moving upward. So I like that because that's a real strong principle for teams. They really want to stay purpose driven. And you as a solo agent, it's really important to kind of also find yourself in that place if possible. Okay, so this one I like because we all know that, we're learning here. We're all new at this. And many of you probably, if you've already come to some of the classes and you've come to the sales meetings especially, you'll see all these huge successes with solo agents. You'll see their numbers and you'll sit back and go, oh my gosh, how do they do it? Like, I don't know, it would be amazing to be able to sell that much. Do you think that those agents are at the place where they're like, well, I can kick back and relax. I don't have to learn anything anymore. I know the whole business. Do you think that's what's gotten them there? It does not work that way. And there are fields where you can actually be the expert, the top of the game, and you're there and you keep practicing. I mean, there's certain things that work that way. But in real estate, because it's such a relationship business, every relationship, every person you're working with on whatever deal it is, there's something that may happen that you're going to have to really understand and learn about and learn from. And continuing to be in classes, continuing to talk to other agents here, continuing to listen is going to bring you from this place of ignoring what you don't know and just thinking you know everything you need to know to really being enlightened and understanding that everything you're doing is a learning-based activity that's going to take you further along in your business. So that's a big mindset too. I think that being a learning-based business is really important, and you can get yourself in this trap of kicking back when everything's good, but then all of a sudden you get into a panic mode when it's not. So coming to class, being active, being purposeful in all of those activities does help you get to that, what we call higher self-actualization. Anybody take psychology in college or that's
I have a therapist.
yeah.
Close enough.
Well, therapy, hey, that's the self-actualization is a phase of life. It's a phase that people go through. And it is a place where you really come to a place of, I want to say more of a peaceful place of who you are and what you are doing, and understanding that you have the openness to go on forward and be the best you can be. If you can't quite reach that self-actualization, you're still struggling through a lot of your own battles, and we all have battles, right? But keeping open to that self-actualization place is such a great goal to have. And that's going to take you into that limitless, ceilingless learning base. And I love it. Okay. All right. So, I'm going to read this.
I am neither especially clever nor especially gifted. I am only very, very curious.
I love it. And Albert Einstein said that. And we all think of Albert Einstein as someone who, you know, I would consider him the smartest person that's ever lived. I mean, the E equals MC squared is like genius and simple but genius. But I love that because this is very true that you don't have to be the cleverest person in the world to do a good business, right? And you don't have to be gifted at this in order to be successful. But as long as you're curious about what can happen and what we can do, curiosity is such a great word for that because it keeps you in that mindset of wanting to discover something more than what you know. That's to me is what curiosity is. And it's also, I like it because it keeps you kind of in that childlike mindset too, of like, life should be about curiosity, not about hardship. And, you know, it's about being curious about what this will bring you, where we're going.
That quote also, if I may interject,
Yeah, go
I was
for it.
just looking at it, and what I immediately thought of was when I'm in listing appointments. I feel like when listing appointments, it's not because I went in there and I was clever. It's not because I went in there and showed them that I was the smartest. It was that I was curious. Is that like I genuinely was like, who are you? What do you need? What do you like? Why is this out there? It was like just being the most curious seems to be the thing that has consistently gotten me the most business. Not showing them that I'm the smartest, not being the cleverest in my marketing. It has just been the most curious person that walks in and is like, I want to know everything about you.
Right.
You know, it seems to work.
That's because you made it about them,
Yeah.
where a lot of agents fall in the trap of talking about themselves and trying to convince them how good you are, how smart you are, how great you're gonna be. And that's why you're getting those, is because you made it about them. You're asking questions that are getting to who they are, which everyone loves to talk about themselves, but you're gonna leave and they're gonna be like, wow, she gets us. Because you asked the questions, and that's an art, because all too often, other people want to talk about themselves.
Yeah, but that's what
Good
that quote
job.
made me think.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like curiosity about real estate. It's like, I put that directly in the face of the clients, and I think it probably works.
Yeah.
I know, it does, you're right,
Well, and I think
that's
also,
a great point.
to me, that also goes hand in hand with authenticity. Like, if you're really authentic about that, if you really go into that listing appointment, knowing that you don't know really much about what they want, but in order for you to do the best job you can for them, you've got to learn as much about them and what they want and what direction they're going as you can.
Yeah. Catherine Ham's buyer consult does a really good job of putting that into a system and a model, I
Yeah.
thought, which I didn't know until 2 weeks ago.
And I love that. I do think we have to be careful not to get so deep into that system that we lose the human connection.
Yeah.
Because I think human connection is really the key to building a relationship and building business with that person. But yes, it does approach it with a lot of questions and learning as much as you can about that person. And curiosity is I think it also is more of a human word. It's a human trait that takes us out of being a machine in a business like that. Yes.
For me, if I keep my desire to serve at the forefront, it makes everything easy.
I love that. Yeah. And that's something I learned right from the start with Keller Williams, is it's all about contribution. If you kind of have a mindset of like working from contribution, what you can do for them changes everything. And it takes the pressure off of you. It takes a lot of the feeling of, I'm not doing enough to make, I gotta make money. I gotta, and then all of a sudden people smell that. They know you're out there to get that money, get that commission, no matter what. And it does not work.
It makes lead gen easier too, because I have to do this whole like mindset thing before I do lead gen, whether it's making a call or whatever. It's like, I'm not calling to ask them for business. I'm calling to offer them something that I think is fantastic. Like,
That's perfect.
which is exactly what you're saying, right? You're coming from a place of giving, like, I have to go mentally through that cycle every time before I send my emails or do whatever. It's like, well, I'm not selling them something. I'm coming from a place like I'm giving them an opportunity to join something.
Right.
It's
It's so true. And that's where you will find clients in the most unusual places. If you find that you're just curious about who they are, what they're doing, and then you don't want to hide what you do. You want to let them know what you do, that you're a real estate agent. I saw Ellen at the home show, and I just told them I was really in my full, not being a realtor outfit with my husband. We just went for the day. But I'm telling you, almost every booth, when I said I was a real estate agent, sparked a conversation, led me to, oh, I have a friend who needs a house. I'm looking, I mean, it was like the most natural thing. And I saw them all like, you would not believe.
I know, I was like, dang, Peggy played that so well. I'd already been through, I was like, yeah.
But it was funny because I
was
was,
laying on the beds.
I was totally not prepared for that, but I did have my cards. But I wasn't prepared. I didn't go in it thinking that that's what I was doing. But it worked for me because it was really coming from an authentic place. And now I have to follow up. That's the key. I got the leads. Now I have to follow up with that and be the realtor. Anyway, well, thank you, Ellen, for sharing that. I think that's
I'll stop
super
and
helpful.
think
And everybody needs to jump in. This is part of what we do in Ignite, is a lot of sharing, asking questions, sharing experiences. And anybody online, please jump in. We want you to participate as much as you can. All right, so we're going to move into this, removing your limiting beliefs, number 5. And this is great on paper, but I don't know about you, but I face this every single day. I face it waking up, I'm going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Well, I don't know if I can really get that done today, so forget it. And then I have to kind of say to myself, you know, I have to like remove that and put myself in a position where the sky's the limit today. What's going to happen? Let's make it happen. So when you unlimit your thinking, you unlimit your success. And I think that's a very simple phrase, but it's a really powerful phrase. I think as most people that work in the workforce that are employees, they are somewhat limited based on their job that they have. So on a daily basis, they're going to work knowing that this is where they are. I would say probably the profession that's probably the hardest for that is teaching, because there is a ceiling of what you can get paid as a teacher. And you know, you can teach 30 years and you're never going to break that ceiling past a certain point. And that is such a shame, because there's so many talented teachers that have so much power and ability, but because of that profession they're in, those are limits that are placed upon them. So when you're working for yourself, you can remove all of those limits, because it really is about what you can do. And it's about how much business you can create. It's going to determine how much income you make, what kind of lifestyle you have. So thinking of like limiting beliefs, I don't have enough time for training. That's a limiting belief, right? So how would we turn that into an unlimited belief, that phrase?
You should need to rephrase it.
I mean, just come up with anything. Schedule out more time, so I do have time to. Excellent. Yeah. So you maybe rearrange your schedule so you can make training part of your day. I can't be successful in this market. How many of us have thought that, as things have been told to us that this is the hardest market? The last few years have been the hardest they've ever seen. What do we do? What can help us turn that into an unlimited belief? Someone who can sign in online too.
I will be successful as long as I put the work in.
Say that again.
I will be successful as long as I put the work in.
There you go. I'll be successful as long as I put the work in. And if you are thinking that the market is not strong enough for business, what activity should you do to change that mindset? What do you think is going to help you? Do you think knowledge is power, right? The more you know about the market, the more you know about what is happening in the market, is gonna give you that ability to be successful in this market. At family reunion, I did not go, but I did come to the sessions. And something that really stood out to me that Gary Keller said was, there's so many agents out there and we think there's just too much competition, but 60% of the agents are doing zero of the work. So you think about that, 60%, so that leaves room for 40%. And out of that 40%, there's a very small percentage that are doing a high level. So those people that are at a high level, do you think that they are thinking these thoughts? No, no. The ones at zero, this is probably why they're at zero. They just look at the market and say, well, this is just way too much. The interest rates are too high. Housing is so expensive, all that. I will not disagree. But there are people actually out there that are okay with that. And they need a place to live. Everybody needs a place to live, right? So it's learning the skills on how to teach your clients how they can move forward in this market, and having that, and that training is going to be a big part of that. And then I can't devote 3 hours each day to lead gen. As silly as that seems, how many of you have experienced that thought? I'll raise my hand. Anybody raising their hand online?
I always say, yeah, when I'm like, I will not devote 3 hours, but I can't, I just don't want to.
Well, it's true. Well, and some days you're like, yes, I'm going all in 6 hours. And the next day I'm like, whew, that was awful. I am not doing that for another 10 days. That is not a healthy way to run your business. That does not create a system for you. But yeah, and that lead gen can actually not just be making phone calls. That lead gen could be out there talking to people, meeting people, having coffee with someone, going out, and if you have a listing in a neighborhood, going out to that listing and catch neighbors that you see, and then maybe be brave enough to go beyond that and knock on those doors and say, hey, I'm having an open house this weekend. Want to come over and visit? We'd love to have you come see this in case you want to compare it to your house, all that stuff. So that's where we can start like thinking beyond just the phone calls, and we can't make those.
There's a popular psychologist that does this thing that says that limiting beliefs are actually like your greatest fears. You know, like it's coming out in your greatest fears. Like, I won't have enough time for training. It's like, I don't know if you're a failure or whatever it might be. And so she says, like, when you wake up or you meditate or whatever, say the opposites. You say, I always will have time for training. I will always be successful in this market. I will always devote 3 hours a day to it.
Absolutely. That's all part of the mindset.
Oh yeah, it's like a meditative practice. Apparently works.
Yeah, it
I
does.
tried it,
But
but
it's just also just realizing when you wake up in the morning, you are a business owner and you're going to go to work. Just like you'd go to work for someone else, right? You put in that 8 hours for someone else. Well, don't you think you're more important than that someone else? You're very important to your business. So if you show up, your business is going to grow. It's going to be there.
The reason that is, Ellen, is because our cells eavesdrop on our thoughts. And they don't know, our brain doesn't know fact from fiction. So it will believe what you tell it. So when you do those mantras, those meditations, you're telling yourself, and that's why people sometimes go, well, gosh, whatever they touch turns to gold. It's because they believe in it. They believe in themselves. So it is very much a mind shift.
And I love this because it ties the whole thing together to me. Being accountable. So we at Keller Williams, I will say something I love that I've learned here that's been very helpful is having accountability partners. Someone that I feel will hold me to it. And right now, Patrice and I are accountability partners to each other and to you guys. We're here to kind of keep you on track and hold you accountable for the activities that you need to do. The 411 is a perfect example of like filling that out. We know that you have your head in the game and you're thinking about doing this, and then we follow up and say, hey, did you get this done? Did you do this? And that's a good way for you to kind of keep accountability on paper so it becomes more real. So you've got these two lists, and I love the way they change the perspective, because it really is about, this is a personal perspective. This is the big one. So we know life happens, right? And reality kicks in. And then you've got this, you know, you just kind of, you ignore it. You just like, I'm just gonna turn this off. Or you just are aware of it, right? Awareness is like the first step of understanding where your head is. You gotta make yourself aware. Don't ignore it. Don't push it away. And then we all want to fight reality. We're just denying what's going on. Oh, you know, I'm just, maybe real estate isn't for me. Maybe I really need to get back into the full-time job. And yes, we all go through that because financially, some people just have to have something. But knowing that in order to be a real estate agent, you are self-employed and it is commission-based, you have to really fight through that denial and know that you gotta be clear on what you want. Clarity is key to fighting the denial. And then I think this one's probably the biggest one, blame. How many of you have something happen in your life that's negative and you immediately blame somebody else or something else? Did anybody experience that?
Yeah, I would say I'm at a point now that I work hard not to. I work more to focus on, where I went wrong, but more so to find a solution. So it has been, cause it's easy to pass the blame.
It is.
So, yeah.
And I think blame to me is the number one block of accountability. Like, if you aren't willing to be accountable for whatever happens in your life, then you will not be able to ever be accountable to anything because you live in that place of projecting it onto someone else. And sure, sometimes things happen due to other people's mistakes or problems, and you have to clean it up or you have to be there. But the accountability of that is you are the one that's going to do it. You're the one that's going to break that through. You're not going to waste any of your energy on blaming someone for what happened. You're going to push past that and be solution based. And I will tell you, when you get into this business, you're going to run into real scenarios where there's going to be a problem that seems like there's no way out. And you're going to come to us and say, but blah, 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 but, and then we're going to say, stay focused on the solution, stay focused on the end game. And it's true. And as soon as you switch your mindset and just say, okay, I am going to be, this is my game. This is on me and I'm going to make this work. And I think that's super important, finding solutions. So that's the next one. We can have an excuse for everything, right? Life is like that. I'm not gonna clean my house because, I'm tired of my husband being such a slob, so I'm gonna just leave it on him.
It'll just get dirty.
It'll get dirty and I don't care, Or I'm gonna say, I'm gonna find a solution. That's not working. Maybe I'll hire somebody. Maybe I just make it fun. Maybe I'll do something about it that makes it more positive for me. Because it's my problem, right? I'm reading the book, Let Them. I don't know if any of you are reading the book, Let Them. It's Mel Robbins. Y'all, this is a life-changing, game-changer book. Because it's all about really understanding that whatever they're doing is not you. It's not on you. But you have to be accountable to you. You have to be, and I like the way she says, let me. Like, let them, but also let me do this. So it's kind of a proactive approach to life.
You should put in the chat
hopes.
after this, if people don't want to read the book, she just does
Podcast.
her own podcast and she goes over the whole thing.
Yeah,
It is life changing. If you want to put it to chat after, because you're right, that book is fun.
yeah.
The whole concept is unbelievable.
And there's a lot of interviews with her out there about the book. The one with Oprah really was
Yeah, it's
powerful.
amazing.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's something that we can always learn how to drive through that because, man, it changes how you feel in the day. It changes how you approach your clients. You're going to find you're going to have clients that are going to give you every problem. They're going to blame it on you. They're going to be upset with you. They're going to, they're going to just flip flop everywhere that, and it's up to you to keep them focused on what their goals are, what they really want, and guide them to that place as the calm.
think it helps you from, prevent you from hitting that entrepreneurial wall too, that ceiling, right? Your client doesn't accept you, your client, or doesn't, whatever it might be, you don't get the listing, whatever, it's like, what the,
Right, right.
that's not gonna be my ceiling,
I
right?
know, it's true, it's true. My husband says it to me all the time, let them. Because he's not reading the book, but he knows I am, so he's like, he gets it. And then the weights and hopes, the resignation is so easy to fall into, to just resign to the fact that it's not working. That's a much easier place to live than take an action plan, go for it. Figure out your plan, figure out how you're gonna make it work, and then do it, right? If you sit back and just talk about it, and then you still resign in it, it's not gonna happen. So these all really do pertain to, it all pertains to how we live our lives. And I like this because this is not just about business. These perspectives in life, I think, also bring you this end game of happiness, right? That's really what we all want. We all want to be happy in what we do. And you might discover some things. You may discover, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. You may discover that real estate isn't for you. It may not be the right place or path, but putting yourself into those mindsets is going to help get you to what we want. And I love this because happiness is not an individual sport. So how do you think we're going to get through all of these different levels of perspective in our business? You think you can do it all by yourself? No, we need each other. We need support. We need all the people around us to drive ourselves to that place. And on a personal note, I've had a lot of jobs on top of being a business owner. And, I've lived probably 10 lives already, so I got 10 more to go. But I will say, this is my first place where I am surrounded by so many like-minded people that are making me a better version of myself. And I think if you can find something that helps you make the better version of yourself, that's the right place to be, right? And when you are the better version of yourself every day, do you think you're going to have business? Do you think you're going to have happiness? Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And yes, we have all those things that get in our way every day that say, oh my gosh, I really messed that up, or I don't think I can do this. And having each other in this brokerage is so crucial. And I will say, like I say, this is my only brokerage I've been a part of, but the people here are genuinely the kindest, most giving people. And they all are very much driven toward a purposeful business and purposeful life. And Keller Williams is what does that. Like brokerage, culture,
Top down.
top down, yes. So now I'd like to just kind of hear from anyone in the room on Zoom, an aha that you feel, or any thoughts you have, or anything. Jump in.
Well, I love this class and teaching it because even though we're in it, and a lot of the instructors for Ignite will tell you, if you want to get better at something, then teach it. Because you have to focus and you're reaffirming, like we've talked about. But the culture of KW, like everything Peggy went over, but the culture of KW and being surrounded by people that are going to lift us all up to be better. We're only as strong as our weakest agent. And so it really is important to keep learning, but I love the mindset stuff because that's where it all begins. How you choose to tackle the day and our opportunities is what sets us apart from people who wonder why they don't have the lives they want.
So I'm going to call on Riley. I'm going to ask you.
Being voluntold.
Riley, you there?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
good.
here.
So Riley, I'm just going to do the little share, and I'll let you decide if you want to do a bigger share. Riley called me this weekend and she's in the middle of a process with a client. And she is doing a repairs request as the listing agent. She's reviewing it. So Riley, do you want to share a little bit about kind of what journey that took you on in your mindset?
Well,
You don't have to, but.
no, I totally can. And I think that it was really helpful, the words that you reminded me, just like, we just need to remember to keep emotion out of it at the right times. Sometimes it's important to have emotion when you're, you know, trying to relate to the person and feel for them, but also like you need to be that rock for them as well. And I think that since I work with my husband, there is a bit more emotion involved just because like I know him personally, obviously. Um, and I'm a younger agent. And so when more experienced agents see that, sometimes I think that I guess we can be viewed as lesser than. At least that's how I saw it in my head, and I think that we need to consistently. I need to remind myself like that's not true. You know, we're all learning, we're all working hard, we're all trying to, you know, um, strive for the same goal and help our clients. And I think that the way that an agent had been speaking with me over the phone and over email is just very cold and very I don't know the word. Peggy, you know the word that I'm trying to say. I guess like
Kind of intimidating you and a little bit bullying, I feel like, just based on the way this was presented to Riley. And the expectations that she placed on Riley, I think she was trying to take advantage of her.
Who is the officer?
It's-
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I don't know that answer, and I'm not gonna say. But no, Riley, thank you for sharing that. And the reason I said that is because I knew this was a roller coaster ride for Riley. And this is the ride we all are on when we're in the middle of a contract, where you don't know what's gonna hit you at what time. The repairs request can be almost like a moment to just dig in as hard as you can as a fire agent, like, we're gonna get what we can get out of them. And then the listing agent's gotta be like, hey, we gotta be the voice of reason here. Like, really? Do you really think we need to do that? Or, you know, change a light bulb? Things like that. So the mindset for Riley was kind of getting affected because the other agent was really putting a very, I would say just an intimidation on Riley because she's younger and she's the sweetest person on the planet. And it was a kind of like a vulnerable moment. So I think what we did, we talked through it and I tried to pull Riley into the mindset of, I know this house, I know my stuff, I know what can be asked for and what can't be. Let's get to the facts. Let's get to what is reasonable and what matches what you can ask for and what matches what you think should happen and be accountable for it. And what you don't need to be accountable for because it's a ridiculous ask, you know? So that was a mindset that we had to work through along with getting to the solution so they wouldn't walk away. And
Did you show her who she was dealing with, Riley?
the-
so yes, I think she does know, but I don't
Good.
know if she knows who it is. But I think that we were just able
No,
to
you know
talk
what I
through
mean.
it,
Yeah.
which was really
Stood
good.
up for yourself and you know what you're doing.
yeah,
I was gonna say, I've been through what Riley's been through
Yeah.
many times. One, just because I am still a newer agent, and a year ago, I was a very new
They
agent.
will
And-
look it up.
Yeah, and they look it up, and I mean, they've told me they've looked it up, and they've been like, I know, you know, it is what it is, but I was gonna say, the mantra kind of I said to myself, and I think I just am older too, and that helps, but, is like stand in your power.
Yeah.
Like, it really, like, again, like flip-flopping, because I know what's happening in probably Riley's mind, because it happens in my mind too, it's like, I don't want to lose this buyer, this is a great offer, whatever, but it's like, just changing it, being like, we also have a fantastic listing. we will find another buyer.
Right.
We have to act in our best interest. And if I like say those things to myself and call them back, they'll know who they're talking to.
Right, they won't push you around.
They won't push you around because at the end of the day, like, again, stand in your power. That's what I have to do when I'm representing a buyer. It's like, hey, we're gonna push. And if they don't do it, you know what? Then it wasn't the house for you.
Right.
And we'll make sure they know that.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, this is what my clients are asking. And you know what? This is always a compromise, right? It's a compromise for yourselves and a compromise for ours. And if we can't come to a conclusion, I'm sure my buyers will find something else.
Wish
out
you
there.
all the best.
You know, we wish you the best, but we, you know what? But you've done a great job with your house. And we'd like yours.
Just make
It's
sure,
just in
yeah,
Your power.
yeah, absolutely 100%.
Thank you,
And-
Ellen. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm not saying this because I'm an expert, I'm saying because I deal with this in my own brain all the time of like, your age has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. You have a listing, they don't.
And they'll do it to you, whether you've been in the business 10 years or whatever. Just remember, just always follow our Y4C2TEs. Look for the win-win for both. Always communicate professionally and respectfully, because the last thing you need is an issue that turns into a much bigger issue because you let them poke your buttons and now you've said something that you can't take back.
I said to an agent a few weeks ago who was so aggressive with me, and this follows within that. They became mean at a certain point. And I would never raise my voice with someone on the
Right.
phone. And I said, no one in my life talks to me the way you're talking to me.
Right.
We're all working towards the same goal, but if you'd like to call me back, I'll answer.
Yeah, when
You
you
know,
can calm.
It's that simple, right? You said nothing mean. You said that you're both working towards the same goal, but you also made it very clear that you want to talk to them.
Right.
And you know what? That agent called me back, 6 hours later and said, I was hot. They were like, I came in hot and I apologize. You know, like, and I don't think they wanted to. I think they were embarrassed, right?
Right.
But you
Yeah.
can always say that, Riley. It's like, hey, you know, like, maybe they weren't talking to you that terribly, but.
Yeah.
That's in your power.
I think in this scenario too, Riley, and we talked about it, and it's not just Riley. I mean, there's a lot of these scenarios. I mean, we all go through them all the time. But I think it's important, like what Patrice says, you want to help them understand what culture you're coming from and how you play this game. And you play the game with your head held high, with doing the right thing for your client and coming at it as a team. Like, let's win for our clients. And that's always my answer. If I get pushback from another agent, I'm like, you know what? I hear what you're saying, but don't we want to win for our clients? Like, I feel like this is going to be a win for your client and mine. That's what we want to focus on. And it always swings them back around. And a lot of other agents in other brokerages do not get this type of training where we're talking about the key to winning a contract. It's how you can negotiate, how you can manage another person's personality and understand how to work with that strong personality to have the power to keep yourself in that position.
Because at the end of the day, Riley had what they wanted. That's the truth.
Right.
She got what they wanted. Like,
I love it, Ellen.
You got what they want, Riley. I don't wanna walk all
And
over.
I want to hear, I do want to follow up Riley later and hear kind of how all this played out. I'm real curious. I didn't get that answer, so.
Did she hit record at the beginning?
I don't know.
Yes, you did.
She did?
Yes, you did.
Okay, great, thank
I
you.
didn't hear it.
Yeah, I didn't either, I want to make.
All right, well, thanks for sharing, everybody. We're gonna move on. So we're talking about culture now. And this, just really briefly, we're not gonna go into this too deeply, but this is something I always use in my listing appointments, because I feel like this sets us apart. People know about Keller Williams because they've heard the name. A lot of people know how big KW is. We're the largest brokerage in the world. Now, internationally, we're the largest, number one. That's a huge statement. We're not necessarily number one biggest agent in Richmond, but as a brokerage throughout the world, we have representatives in like hundreds of places, other countries. It's really cool. And the things that we do that I think are very much a very strong statement of who we are is Red Day. Red Day is a day where we can all participate here in the brokerage. Everybody shuts down their business on Red Day. Every brokerage in every place in the world shuts down and volunteers their time for a charity. And each market center will pick a charity. So our market center, the two times that I've done Red Day, one was the Boys and Girls Club. We all went over, the ones that participated went over, we painted, we did gardening, we did power washing, and it was so fulfilling and so fun. And there were some of the people, some of the young adults were around and they were so interesting to talk to and they loved having us there. And so that Red Day it's such a powerful thing to talk about with your clients. Because when they know that Keller Williams cares about the community enough to everyone shut down their business for a day and do something for the community. And it's not about the business, it's about the community. It's a pretty strong statement. Also, we have KW Cares, which is such also, if any of you saw any of the family reunion tapes about KW Cares, KW was always there for their agents. We sent 18-wheeler full of supplies when the hurricane happened in Asheville. In 24 hours between the Northern Virginia brokerage and our brokerage, we filled an 18-wheeler truck full of toilet paper, water bottles, diapers, food, like perishable food, all of the things that they needed. And people were on the phones learning what community was affected, what KW agents lost their homes, where they needed the most help. And we were able to send a good amount of supplies down. Other agents actually got their own truck and sent stuff down. Like, it was the most powerful message of community, of what we do. And when you know that you have people that do that without a thought, without even thinking twice, that they're willing to give, it's through that organization, KW Cares, that provides that. So, it's a powerful thing. And also as agents, we know we're cared for. If anybody had a disaster or something horrible to happen to you where you needed support financially or needed food or needed something, KW will be there for you. And it's something you can actually donate to when you do a deal. It's something you can add $10 to it every deal. You can throw in 10, 20, 50, whatever you choose to do. And it is tax deductible. It's considered a donation, but it's something that KW has that gives back to their people and to the community. We have the kids can, we have the whole, that's a whole different drive, but it's also something that we do. We care for the kids. It's like helping them understand about being entrepreneurs. And this is all part of our culture. We do have cultural ambassadors. We have people who represent our brokerage who will go to our regional meetings and talk about culture. And there will be a section in that meeting about how we care for each other and how we present ourselves as KW agents in the community. And I love that because that's to be a huge stamp of what this company is all about. DEI, yes, there is still, DEI is a real thing. If we say it out loud and all the words, diversity, equity, inclusion, we all know those three words are probably the most important words in our society. Whether you agree with the DEI stuff out there politically, diversity, we are a diverse brokerage. Diversity is very important to what we do. Fair housing, that's what we have to remember. It's all about serving the community. And we have a diverse community, right? And diversity goes beyond things we think is diverse. We're all diverse. We're all different. I'm different from Ellen. We have our own diversities. Equity. Every person deserves to buy a house, right? So we have to always remember that. And then inclusion. Everyone can play this game. Everyone can be a part of this. And so those are really key words that we want to really understand as part of our culture. So this, and I love these acronyms, they always get me.
I know.
MVVBP, mission, vision, values, beliefs, perspective. That's just kind of a way to hold on to what we are at KW. Our mission, our vision, what values we have, our beliefs and perspective. And as you are presenting your listing or buying presentation, you are going to present your value proposition. And if you can understand all of this, that's gonna be the big part of your value proposition. What value you bring to the table for them. Our mission, let's all say it together. Let's all read it together. Ready? To build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. Thank you. The people online even chimed in. That was very little enthusiasm, but I will let y'all slide over. Think about like build a career worth having. So yes, that's part of our business plan. And making our career a career, like it's something we're gonna earn a living, right? And our business is worth owning. We want our business to be something we're proud of, that we feel like has worth, value, right? And then our lives worth living. I don't know about you, but one of my goals every year is to be able to take a vacation somewhere that I can go anywhere I want to go, or someplace that I feel is important to me for that year. And I've been able to do that. And then experiences worth getting, like we're all like, life is short, right? This is all we got. This is it. So we gotta have make sure every experience is worth it and not throw anything away, right? And then legacies, we want to be able to actually have something we can leave for the people behind us. And that doesn't always have to be money. That can be actually who you are as a person, like what you have created in this world and your stamp you put on this earth. All right. So this is the big one. The W-I-4-B-2-Ts. So I can never say that without looking.
All right, so here's how you have to remember it. Okay, so you go the Y, W-I, Y, 4 Cs, 2 Ts. And so you say the Y4C, 2 Ts.
It's so wild.
Yeah, it is. It's a mouthful. It took me forever.
I have it kind of in my,
They tried, it doesn't work.
I know, the Y4C,
They tried.
2 Ts.
But let's get to the meat of it, because
Yeah.
that's what's important.
Right.
So win-win or no deal, super important. Riley, this is a good, like, follow-up from what you're dealing with and what you were saying, Ellen.
Yeah.
Our goal is win-win. If the person on the other side has no desire to win, then you say no deal. If a client is so impossible, they're not following your culture, you can not hire them. You cannot, you can say, I'm not working with you. You can find someone else, thank you. Good luck. And that's okay, because you want to stick to this culture. Integrity, do the right thing. If you're ever in a position where you're faced with the potential to do something a little sneaky, a little off color to get the money, to get the whatever deal, if you're questioning that, does that reach the integrity that you think you should have as a business owner? No. So that's a good one where you can always just check in on yourself. Would someone else do this? Sometimes I'm faced with this. I go, would Patrice do that? Would Maria do that? Would Gary Keller do that? And if my answer is no, then my answer is no. Customer always comes first, unless that customer is just completely unreasonable, unbelievably hard to work with. But yes, our fiduciary duty is to our customer, right? Commitment in all things. We want to commit to what we do. You cannot go with one toe in and the rest out. It doesn't work. You have to commit. And once you commit, you have to live with whatever it is you're dealing with and understand that that's part of what you're dealing with. And sometimes it's going to be compromise. It's going to be working number wise. You know, I've had to actually throw in a little money out of my commission to win a deal with another agent that did the same thing. And it was hard to swallow, and I would never recommend doing that, but sometimes that has to happen. These people love this property so much, and I'm getting so much joy out of seeing what they're doing with this property. and what they've made of this. I'm thrilled that I was able to do what I did. Creativity, be creative. Oh, communication, sorry, communicate. Do not just hold back and not communicate and not understand why didn't they know that? Well, maybe you didn't communicate it to them. The communication is key, and even over communicating is better than not communicating at all, you know? Just double down on it. Creativity, use your creative ideas before you give up. Like getting to the solution, creative ways to get to the solution, creative ways to negotiate. And teamwork together, everyone achieves more. We know that. We are always wanting to work as a team. We are a team here. PC is a team. We help each other, support each other. You guys come to us. We're your team leads. We will get you through the deal. And that's part of what we do here. Trusting. Be honest. Like, it's better than trying to just be a salesperson. Be honest. They will trust you. And people smell that. They know that. There is an intuition out there that people have. And if you're not honest, people will know that. It comes across pretty loud and clear. Equity, we talked about that. Everybody that has an opportunity, never assume that a person cannot buy a house. Never assume that. Present the opportunity. You'd be so surprised at the people that can buy houses and the people that can't. And that is not up to you. That is up to the person who has the opportunity. And we go from there. Success is through people. Yes. The only way we can be successful is meeting people, having relationships with people. Okay, so there's our red day. There's any ahas real quick on this. This is like a big piece of our culture. And that's why thing. Why
Go
eat?
back to that. I was trying to say an aha, but then I couldn't remember what was on the page. I think when you were talking about equity, it was just making me think about just when you have an equitable mindset, like opportunities do come up when you're thinking from a sales perspective. So like when all that grant stuff got presented last week, grant money was out, I was like, ooh, a big opportunity here, right? And I reached out to a handful of my friends that talk about buying houses that have always said they can't afford it. And I was like, prove it.
Yeah,
Let's
Right.
you can't, right? But
Yeah,
good for you.
and that's a good thing to remember too, like, we always want to present the opportunities to our clients, but we also want to give them the opportunity to present the facts to the lender, to get the facts together, and then work with that. Never assume that they're gonna, or that they are in that category of income, never assume any of that, because, yeah, those grants are great, and it is an opportunity, and having that presented to someone gives them the opportunity to learn more, you know. So I think it's super important. Anybody else have an aha? So this is old news, but I think we're pretty much in the same boat. I think last year they said we were the top franchise for women's business, like, yeah, and culturally, we're number one, we're,
Like a lot, yeah.
yeah,
For diversity, for women, for,
yeah. And the number one brokerage in the world, and we have, what, 180,000 agents in the US? Worldwide, 180,000, y'all. Wow. Okay, and these are the things that we have here at KW that are available. Of course, all the training and coaching, local and regional training. We have regional meetings, twice a year. Once a year, regional meeting. I'm trying to think.
no, we have them,
A couple of times. Yeah.
regularly. We usually promote the biggest one here in Richmond, because then you don't have to travel so far, but we have them, quarterly in other parts of the state.
Yeah, so even going to the one here in Richmond, it's a free event. You actually get these speakers that come down, people come from the main Keller Williams office. It's always a great opportunity to mastermind with a lot of great agents in the region. and hear other people's ideas, and they feed you so much information. Plus, they feed you, so
Yeah,
it's nice.
it's great to network.
Yeah, it's a great network. And then, of course, family reunion is the big one in the winter months where there's like 25,000 plus agents that gather in one place. And it's just, they just had it, and it's an amazing event. It does cost a good amount of money, so you want to prepare for that. Mega camps in the summer, that's in Austin. It's also an opportunity to learn, and all of those are learning opportunities where you take a lot of classes, you get to meet a lot of people, you hear from the top guys in the whole company.
Mega Camp is usually in Austin in August, but they're doing renovations on the convention center. So Austin is where we're headquartered, which is why it's usually there. However, this year, if you need another reason to go, it's going to be in San Antonio. So if you've never been there, it's going to be down in San Antonio.
Let's figure that out.
And then next year's family reunion, if you want to start setting money aside and planning, is going to be in Atlanta. So a much easier trip. Some people may even drive if you want.
I think I'll do that.
But with it being right here on the East Coast, that's
Yeah,
an
that's
easier
great.
one. Yeah.
And then we have all of our things we can access through MyKW. The command training is so great. If you have a question about command and you're not sure and you don't know where to go online and look at one of the videos, and then you can always go to Scott Lowery Marketing. We have coaching in MAPS coaching, which is a more advanced coaching beyond your PC coaching right now. So this is where you want to stay until you get to that level. And then Bold is a really awesome program that is for 4 weeks. How many weeks was Bold?
Bold was
6
6 or 7 weeks. Yeah.
And it's weekly, and it's a real, it drives your business forward through activities and through team play and like working with other agents on how to build your business. And it's a really great motivational kind of spark your business and kick it into gear. It's a great program. Okay. And then your command, it's ever changing. They keep adding new opportunities. I think probably they've got more AI in command now, but there are command classes. Take the command classes, learn as much about command as you can, because it is a lot, but you have to use it in order to get paid. So when you do get into production, you want to come to one of us or go to command online and learn how to do that process. Because you're creating your pipeline on command and all of that. And plus you can do all your marketing through command and your presentations. And then your app, the KW app. I love the KW app tool. I give it to anyone that I'm working with. I give them the opportunity to go on the KW app. And what I tell them, I think in this day and age, people don't want to get harassed a lot with like phone calls and information all the time from you. It gives them the autonomy with it. It's like they can go on their app anytime they want, browse, hit a heart, and then I get notification that they've looked at these properties. And then it helps me kind of learn a little more about what they're looking at before we start showings and all that. So it's a great tool, and it does connect them with you as their agent. Passive income, real quick, profit share is a part of KW. You all came in with a sponsor. You have to be sponsored in order to join KW. Someone invited you in, right? Well, that is considered as part of the profit share. So that means they will get a little profit share off of what production you do. And then if you bring someone in, you get a share of what they do. And it's kind of like a little bit of a pipeline of that. So it's a great way to build passive income if you start pulling other agents toward us and get them involved under your name. Then you will be, I think there's only so many you can do. It's like 7 or what in profit share. Is it like a 7 tier or?
No, you can go 7 levels deep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
7 level deep, right?
yeah. So if I brought in Peggy and then Peggy brings someone in, then that's too deep. And then if they bring someone in, so, I mean, to go 7 levels is potential, but like, yeah, you've got to be here for a while to really,
And then these are just some extra, I'm gonna just skip over that, if you don't mind. These
Those
are
are-
different communities that we have, any of you taking the investment class?
I am,
Yeah, I am too. And that's a KW investments. He's got the investment section of KW and he's the expert on investments. And it's really awesome to be able to take advantage of a class like that where we can do it without paying for it. These are all the different aspects of KW outside of us doing resident. Most of us are residential agents. Okay, I'm gonna skip there because we got a lot to go through. So now we're gonna talk about our future. This is the fun part. Well, it's all fun, but this is the active fun part. So let's now just put everything down. And I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think 1 year from now. So today, look at people on Zoom. Yeah, tell them. Oh, I'm looking up there like
I
I'm
know,
looking at
I
them.
know.
Hi, Zoom. Yeah, so I want everybody to do this. Close your eyes and I want you to just imagine it's March, what is it, March 3rd?
March 3rd.
March 3rd, 2026. And you're at KW. Your business is thriving and your life is everything you dreamed of. Your customers rave about the experience and value you provide and think of you when they have real estate needs. Your family and friends are so proud of your success and are consistently referring to business your way. I'll get rid of all of that, but it's okay. Yeah, your family is really proud of what you've done with your business so far. You're helping others live their dream of owning a home because you focused on helping them get what they desire. You're building the foundation of momentum for your entire career and gaining the relationships and experiences and the income you desire. You are the top agent in your market center. Or you're rookie of the year if you're new. You're poised to hire a part-time assistant to handle your 80% while you take care of the 20% that grows your business. You are on the path to, and I want you to fill in the rest of that. Take a minute. Think about what that leads you to. Everyone online, make sure you're just writing something down, participating, because we're gonna all share. All right, would anyone, I'll let people in the room go first. Anyone in the room want to share what they think, where they are, what this is leading them to? You don't have to go first. Patrice, you want to share?
I put to grow my real estate business to 150 GCI. Or no, that's take home to 150 for this year.
Okay. Anybody else want to share? Now, if you're new, this is kind of like you're looking at this as like, well, really, can I really do this? But just get rid of those limited beliefs. This is where you want to just think about what this may look like for you.
I was talking with Maria and I would really love to have 18 transactions by the end of the year so that I can hire an assistant. She was like, that was kind of the number she
Yeah.
put on it, where she was like, if you can, like, that are not from other things, that are just like you can close 18 deals. She's like, you'll be in a position where we would advise you to hire someone. And that is, I really struggle with those kinds of things. It's just not innately who I am. The like sending birthday cards, I'm like, it is so hard for me to sit down and do this and things. That is like That would be
That's a
everything.
great goal.
That would be everything.
Well, and that goes back to the 80-20. If you hire some leverage, they can do all the other stuff, so you can focus on your 20%. That's gonna bring you more results.
Yeah, and I know that stuff matters, I struggle to do it.
I get it.
But it's also recognizing what your weakness is, that you can actually leverage that out if you need to.
Yeah.
Like that actually might work better for you than struggling through it. That's where I am. I'm in that place.
Yeah, that's what I'm gunning for.
Alexis, would you like to share? Did she do?
No, I think she left.
Oh, she left.
Oh,
Okay.
you've got,
Okay, I've
some
got
new
Lyndon.
people on, yeah.
Lyndon, would you like to share?
I would like,
Oh yeah, if Taylor wants to go, he can.
It's a she.
yeah, so it's Taylor. I wanted to do a few things coming here into Keller Williams. I wanted to build tiny homes for low income home buyers. So I wanted to be able to give back to the community and allow them to still get into home ownership, but not having to focus on like a $300,000 mortgage. I want to pay off my debt, school loans, and also continue to go into nursing school as a nurse practitioner. And then I want to continue to invest and put money into my Roth IRA, so that my son is taken care of by the time I'm, let's say, 50. He doesn't have to worry about, you know, having to pay school loans or anything.
I love them. That's great. Thank you, Taylor, for sharing. I'm glad you're here too. Riley, Riley, no, Lyndon, I'll let you go because you were jumping in too.
So a goal that I have is to be able to have some passive income, just being able to set aside money for my future kids, since I will be having a kid in June. So I think I really want to be able to have a steady income at least, and then be able to not worry about where like paychecks are coming from.
Anybody else, or anybody want to share in here?
Well, my goal is to, especially with being an investor, my goal is to do 20 sales this year, and buy my first property, as far as rental property. And then to start to redevelop, my granddad, estate. Those are my questions.
I love them. Do you have an idea of what property, like what kind of property you want to buy?
Like a 3-4 bedroom. And I do want to buy a livable property to where, it can be for, like my rent is not costly. Like I don't want my rental properties to be, for the money. It's more for to help society. So I definitely, plan to on the lower end for rent. So the goal is really for low income. So. And it makes a great more comfortable.
Linda?
So I'm still trying to, I have specific goals like that, but in general, the way that I think, I just put, I'm on the path to purposeful living and all that means, and leading my family in building generational wealth.
I love that. And that's, if you kind of have that overview of what you want, all the pieces will start to come together if you think that way. Does anybody else want to share? Because I'm not going to force anyone to share, but if you would like to share.
May I have a turn?
Sure.
Mario.
Good morning, everyone. From a year from now, I can see myself in my own groove already. And I don't have any righteous cause. My main goal is money, wealth, And hopefully by this time next year, I'm planning for I've never been on vacation outside the country. So I would like to go plan a vacation for the summer of next year outside the country.
Love that.
Big one.
Do you have a place, a certain place you want to share where you want to go?
I have 3 in mind: Jamaica, South Africa, or Japan.
Very different places. I'll be curious to know where you go. I'm gonna live vicariously through that.
So,
That's it.
Nick Unterleiter in our office is going to Japan in a week or two, so he can tell you about that. And I've been to Jamaica and South Africa, Demario, so I'll be happy to talk to you about either of those.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, that's good. You have a big goal.
So I'll share real quick, when I did this exercise my first time, I was like, I don't know, this is a lot. I don't know if this is gonna happen. I was very much a doubting Thomas, but I set a goal. I had this goal of wanting to make 100,000 in GCI for that first year. And I didn't have any business the first 6 months. So I had to really get on it. And then I had another goal of owning a house. And so I did reach my 100,000 GCI that first year, to my shock and surprise. I did challenge someone who was in the office at the time that really helped rev me up and get me going, which I still tease him about that. And then I am buying my first home in 15 years, like right now. So, yeah, and then I took a trip that I said, my goal was to take this trip that I wanted to take to Maine to visit my husband's family is all up there, and I've never been to that state. And my husband and I took a long trip up to Maine and New Hampshire and all that this summer. So like setting those kind of goals and then actually seeing them play out is so amazing, because, it does happen, y'all. It does.
And that's part of the 411.
Yeah.
When you see your goals in writing,
Yeah.
it helps.
Pretty cool. So now we're gonna put this in numbers, okay? So we're gonna do this little exercise. I'm gonna just come over here and put it up here, but I want y'all to go ahead and do this on your own. Go ahead and make a circle, and we're gonna just put little arms out here. And I'm just gonna make Mickey Mouse ears. So I want you to fill 4 boxes. And, well, there's 5 there, but okay, you can do a 5th one. I'll throw a 5th one in there. And I want you to come up with 5 things that you'd like to do and how much you think that's gonna cost you. 5 goals, financial goals that you have, and how much those will cost you. And go ahead and we're gonna go backwards. So you're gonna start with that number. So say, like this says pay off mortgage. Maybe it's to pay off of your credit card debt. Maybe one is to put so much in savings. Maybe one is to put money in in your IRA account. Maybe something doing some charitable work, anything that you put a money value on it. And everyone online, you can see that slide, so you can kind of follow the slide. And this is your big why, your big life. You're trying to figure out what it is you're aiming toward to get the things you want out of this, right? So once you've filled in your boxes and the numbers, go ahead and add those numbers together. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move forward because we're running out of time. So I did my categories, I just put in some general categories and general numbers to even it out. But maybe buy an investment property, have $25,000 to put down on that. Put back $10,000, pay off my car, my debt and all that, 20K. Home improvement, do an addition of something, 30K, and then a vacation, maybe 10K. And that all came up to 100,000. So that number in the middle is gonna be what you're gonna want to look at as your, your net income. So doing that kind of looking at those numbers, that's gonna help you understand what kind of business you need to do. And we're gonna dive into those numbers next. So if you can look at that, your number might be really big, like this is 364,000. That's a lot of business. And you'll kind of understand what that means as far as how many transactions that requires. So just real quick, to achieve success, you need motivation and inspiration for doing it, your big why. And this big why is so important to hold on to every time you're doing business, because it's going to keep you motivated, it's going to keep you focused, it's going to keep you working hard, being in the trenches. Keep focused, keep your focus on that big why, and you'll be able to get through all of that to get where you want to be. So now let's talk about how you get there. This is the fun part.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
this,
go ahead.
oh, you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so where your commission dollars go? We have pretty much 4 places that this money goes. And I know some agents have actually presented this to clients as showing their value by putting 4 quarters out on the table. And you can put 4 quarters out, but you take a quarter out that goes to your market center, because your market center gets 30%. You pay KW 30%. And you also pay 6% to the center as a royalty, up into a certain point you cap. And same with that 30%, you cap at 25,000. So anything past 25,000, you get to keep, but you still have to consider when you're looking at this right now, take a quarter away. So now you've got 3 quarters left. Your business expenses, it's going to cost you money to make money. So you got to pull out a quarter for that, because that's your staging, your photos, your advertising, your
MLS.
your MLS, your
Dues.
fees every month, all of the things that require you to operate. And then you want to check out taxes, because yes, we do got to do that. So now you're left with 1 quarter. So by the time you get to your money, this is all you see. Now, when you look at it that way, you're like, oh my God, that's like, whoo. But take that dollar and turn it into $100,000. Turn it into, and now you see kind of how you want to reach those high levels of business, so you can have a good amount of money left over. So now these numbers are just general numbers. I personally don't spend this much on business expenses, but it's all based on your own business. But there are certain set expenses you're gonna have whether you have business or not. Your net income goal would be 100,000. So your company dollar is 30 grand. Your business expenses are 50 grand. Your total gross commission is 180,000. And your typical commission fee is $9,000. So in terms of what that looks like in our market, I think this is based on what, 350,000?
Yeah, and. Yeah, and our company dollar and royalty combined is not 30, it's 28. Yeah, so if you're doing, but you can use this as, that way you're still coming out ahead.
Yeah, and the typical commission, I think, is a little higher than
Mhm.
9,000 because our average price in Richmond's 400,000 roughly. But that looks like 20 transactions. So that's more than one a month. It's almost two a month in order to net 100 grand. So you can see it takes a lot of hard work and, you got to really get that business going. But it is possible.
And I think, like Peggy said, those business expenses were high. And there's a difference between expenses and cost of sales. So both go into that.
So for just lack of time, I'm gonna just let you all do this on your own.
Sure. Is the average, a commission percentage 3% here?
No, I would say we are in the negotiable terms part of that now.
Right.
For a listing, if you're the listing agent, you have more control of that with your client. That's where you bring your value into play. And you can ask them that you tell them your fee is 3% or 4% or whatever percentage you choose. And that's between you and the client. That's all you can negotiate with that client now.
Due to the lawsuit, there is no standard. The lawsuit thought we were setting standards within real estate of price fixing what commission should be. So we cannot say that there is a typical commission. When you're talking to a client, you can't say the norm is 3%. We need to change that conversation to, I charge 3% and here's why, here's what I do for that. Some agents are showing a tiered structure. I do all this for 3. If you only want to pay me 2.5, this is what we're going to take away. And people are like, well, I don't want you to not market it or not do other things. So that's up to you all. And it's up to whenever you're working with a buyer, what your commission will be.
So what I'm gonna ask you to do is just jot this down to be able to work out these numbers for yourself. Because we're gonna move on. Good time.
And we probably need to take a little break.
Yeah.
And
Take
then-
a couple minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah,
All right.
let them online now.
All right, so online, guys, we're gonna take about a 3 to 4 minute break. So let's say come back at 10:55.
Even number.
Oh, sure.
All right, 10:55, and then I'll start I think we're ready for the next.
Yeah, I think it's just a success list.
Okay.
All right. Good. Okay.
Good job.
Oh, thanks. I need this class today for my mindset.
I know, right?
Yep.
We'll be right back after this break. Oh, wait, we got some chats. Oh, okay. Hmm.
Yeah, a little like 5 minutes ago, sorry, I'm half paying attention now because something
It's
kind of
okay.
exploded and I was like, oh crap, I gotta get it, not in a bad way, it was more just like, I've gotta deal with this now, I can't wait till. I leave here and I gotta go straight to the dermatologist, then I gotta put a lockbox at a house and I'm like, I've gotta handle this now.
Yeah, isn't that fun? It never.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
this is
what-
great, this is really awesome, I'm glad I'm here.
Well, is this your first time to do Ignite?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's Ignite After Dark, and there's Ignite, but there's Ignite After Dark people I
Where's-
didn't know, but these are all office people. I'm like, I don't know what the difference is, but either way, I mean, how many industrial estate agents necessarily have something major happening at 9 a.m. on a Monday, especially as new ones? I'm like, I want to go and
Yeah.
figure
Well,
out,
and
see what
it's,
it is and what's going on.
it's just good to
Have
have this kind of like, you
Oh.
probably haven't had this established in your mind yet about KW, like.
No, well, not from like a real estate perspective. Again, like where I was, it was a great year to like learn how to just systematically sell real estate, how to read a contract and how to negotiate, but like mindset and how to grow a business, that didn't exist there,
Right,
which is everything.
it is everything.
Thank you. We got 1 minute.
Oh, y'all offer so much.
Oh,
Maybe true.
it's a great place. All right. Are you guys back online? Y'all ready to go? Everybody get up and stretch a little. And Taylor and Demario, I know you guys are new, and I think this is probably the first Zoom you've been on, so I'm glad y'all are here. And hopefully we're not blowing your mind up too big, but we do want you thinking about that big life you want. We'll get my water and we'll go ahead and get started. So all the things Peggy went over in session 1 are so important, and mindset is something we have to work on every single day. And I encourage you guys to find some affirmations that speak to you, find a quote, maybe put it on your phone as your screensaver so that you're constantly looking at it. I started years ago making all my passwords positive affirmations. So every time I log in on my computer, I'm telling myself a positive affirmation. Then with other sign-ins, I'm doing other affirmations. So you know, things that make me happy, things that keep me focused. So if you choose happiness, you can't have a bad day. And when you watch your dialogue with yourself, like Ellen was saying, to say, I am successful, I am helpful, I am going to get a client today, whatever it is in your mind, it's amazing that when you do that, things show up. And that's the universe listening to you and you manifesting things to happen. So I'll give you a little background on me, since we're working with a lot of new people. People ask me all the time, how long have you been in real estate? And my answer is different than how long I've been licensed, and kind of throws people off. I got into real estate in 2008. I was doing consulting work And I wrote a business plan for a company to start a foreclosure company for banks, handling non-performing loans. So if you remember that time of the year, that time, I started doing the consulting fall of '08, and we started the business in '09. So I've been selling commercial and residential real estate since 2009. You didn't have to be licensed to sell on behalf of the bank. But then I got my license in 2013. So I'm going on 12 years with my license. I discovered I really like the retail side of it too, and helping friends and family. And so I sold my part of that company in 2015. And I came to KW. The owner of this office at the time heard that I had business background and real estate, and she hired me to come in as the productivity coach. So I've been doing that since 2017. So this June will be my 8th year, having the privilege of working with newer agents and new agents to KW to help. So that's a little bit about my backstory and why I'm here and love what I do. You will see all the same notices. Now, as you go through Ignite, they're going to continue to reinforce certain things. And so you'll see some repetition, and there's a reason. Repetition helps you learn and remember. So just keep that in mind when we go over some of the same things. So when we go back to today's agenda, the 6 core competencies in the business, we talked about teaching you guys not just real estate and how to transact a house, but how to run a business. You are a CEO of your company, and you need to get up, dress up, and behave like you're the CEO of your own company. If you're always running late, not doing the work, what kind of CEO are you going to be, and what kind of results are you going to be? So when you do the mindset and figuring out your big why of what big kind of life you want for future kids, for your future self, for your future family, like Peggy said, if you get up and work 8 hours a day and grind for someone else, why wouldn't you do at least that for yourself, right? So we're going to talk about the competencies of a business, recognizing your role as a fiduciary for your clients. You are going to be the difference between them having a good real estate transaction or not, and the fiduciary for their money during that. We're going to review success systems, recaps, and then go over some daily reminders. These are the 6 things that you should be doing in your business. Yes, take a picture, write them down. We're going to be talking about them. When I help agents and I see 411s, and the 411 is the tool to write down your activities each week. And it's called the 411 because there's 4 weeks that go into 1 month, and then your yearly goals. So if you know this is the beginning of March and you need to start getting business, these are the things that should be on your 411. And I see things like get hair done so I can get my pictures made so I can order business cards. That's all great. People are not going to select you to sell or buy a house because you got your hair done. That kind of stuff is busy stuff, and that's a cop-out to doing the work. So, and I say that with love, because when we get uncomfortable with something, and we do, if we're afraid to pick up the phone, or afraid to have the conversation about real estate because we don't know what comes next. We don't know how to write a contract. Peggy and I are here to walk you all through that. You need to plan ahead and go, well, I'm gonna start practicing contracts before I'm practicing on my clients. 6 core competencies, if you're not doing some or all of these each day, this will help you get regrounded. Lead generate, capture, and convert appointments. Lead generate does not have to mean picking up the phone and dialing for dollars. Hi, this is Patrice, are you looking to buy or sell this year? Okay, bye. Hi, this is Patrice, are you looking to buy or sell? I met you at the open house. How's it going? Let's talk, right? A lot of people avoid that rather than, hi, Ellen, I had the pleasure of meeting you at the open house Saturday. Thank you for coming. How many more houses did you go see that day? What was your experience? When you signed into my open house, you said you're just starting your journey. I love talking to you and your husband, Ralph, and I would love to help you guys. Would you like to meet for coffee and let's just talk? I'm not going, hey, let's have a buyer's consultation and you'll sign that you're going to work with me, right? Phone calls are a part of it. It can also be just calling someone and checking in with them. Like we said before, if you're coming from contribution, call to check on your people. Hey, any spring projects that you need, landscapers, painters, or anything for your home, right? You're coming from contribution, not calling them about real estate. And you'll be amazed when people go, oh my gosh, I can't believe you called me. We were just talking last night that we need a painter because we're thinking about selling. And we want to enjoy it for a little while first. Okay, lead generation can be going to networking events. It can be wearing a KW shirt when you go work out or when you walk the dog. I bought my dog a KW bandana, a doggy bandana, so that when we go walking and go to the dog parks, it'll be, you know, a conversation piece. So lead gen can be anything that is going to further conversations with people. Find the lead gen that works for you. Peggy's may not look like Marissa's, may not look like Ellen's or Linda's. You find what works for you in your sphere. But you need to be doing lead gen every day and converting to appointments. That's number 1. Number 2, you need to present to buyers and sellers to get an agreement. If you do not have your buyer or listing presentation set up yet, for any of you newer people, or even if you're not new, sometimes people still don't do it because they're getting people organically and they're going to sign with them because they know them and like them. But if you haven't done that, that would be what you need to be working on, or refine your presentations. And then you show buyers properties and market listings. A lot goes into each of those. You need to know the process. And everything on here is going to be taught to you through Ignite. We're going to talk negotiations. We're going to talk working with buyers, working with sellers. So every class is going to go through components of all of this. Writing and negotiating contracts. Why do y'all think that's so important? What can happen if you don't know how to write a contract correctly?
Get sued.
You could get sued. Yep. Worst case scenario, you could get sued and have a violation on your license. What else?
Could be voidable.
Yeah, Linda said it could hurt your buyer or seller. Absolutely. There could be ramifications for them. What did you say to Mario?
It could be voidable.
Yeah, it could be voidable. It could cost money. Nobody likes to lose money. You make a mistake, it could cost you that money to rectify it. So you want to learn how to write and negotiate contracts. We do have a contract writing class on the schedule for March. I also encourage everyone to go in that has access to MLS. Go in and select a property that is in the MLS and write a purchase agreement on it, like you have a buyer. Practice it. Run comps. What would you recommend they offer on that property? Was it priced correctly? Practice a contract now, because there is nothing more stressful than taking your first client to see a house Saturday and offers are due Sunday. And Peggy's out of town in Maine and I'm at a family birthday and you're going, I'm writing my first contract, help. Right? So let's practice those things beforehand. Coordinate the sale to closing. That's really important too, because once you get under contract, you have to get them to the finish line. And as Peggy was going over, manage the money. Manage the money. There is nothing that scares me more than seeing an agent get their first couple deals and they go out and they decide to get the new car. They decide to get luxury items. Okay, you don't have to prove anything by buying things that you think make it look like you're selling Sunset. We're not selling Sunset. We're Richmond, Virginia. Keep your money, invest it, put it in your account so that you can plan those trips you want to take, those education funds for the kids, and you can pay your expenses. There's nothing worse than people who have to get out of the business or go get another job because they can't afford their next quarter MLS dues. Yes.
One of the things I learned from my own brokerage was to pay your taxes quarterly.
Yes, pay your taxes quarterly. Great suggestion. When I started getting back into real estate and selling, because the first couple years that I was here, I was just teaching and being on the leadership team, and then people started coming to me again for helping them buy and sell. And I had a really good year. And boy, did I have to pay for it. And luckily, I'm not a crazy spender and I had the taxes, but then I went to quarterly. So yes, make sure you set that money aside and your quarterly taxes are based on your previous year's results. So you can either have your accountant figure out what you would have based on what you anticipate the next year, but for first time people, you may have to, you get that first year under your belt. So yes, managing the money like a CEO. I have my commission checks go to my LLC. And then once a month, I have my LLC pays me a little living expense. And I let that fund grow. Okay. And that I set aside for taxes. I'll move taxes into another account. So find the best way and make sure you get accounting and CPA help for your business. Okay. So yes, you have to manage the money and make sure you learn the difference between an expense and a cost of sale. Anybody want to take a shot of what you think an expense is?
Patrice, I just had a question for you.
Yeah.
So, did you interview multiple CPAs and accountants, or did you just kind of have a referral that you worked with?
I had a referral for someone, and she has worked with numerous real estate agents. But I think I'm gonna switch. I think we're leaving money on the table. So I think I'm gonna go with one that some other agents in our office go with.
I also have a great CPA.
Oh, good. Who's that?
Her name is Katie Torrance. She
Okay.
runs CD Torrance and Associates. I use her, I send my clients to her,
Oh, great.
everyone,
Okay.
she's fantastic. She's
And
in my
she
referral.
helps you too with your investment properties.
So that would be more of she does my taxes. She's my
Okay.
CPA. I do have
Okay.
an accountant. Accountants don't love to talk
Right.
to you about investment properties. 'Cause It's hard for them to track.
Yeah,
That you kind of have to, you know,
Okay.
get some specific, but CPA wise.
all right, so
I do not
Ellen's
like-
got that great CPA, sure. Okay, yeah, reach out to Ellen, Riley.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. But yes, your expenses are things that you have to pay regardless of whether, this is a good way to distinguish. Expenses are things you have to pay whether you're working with a client or not. You have to keep up your dues. You have to keep up your MLS fees. You have to pay the office fee every month, whether or not you're working with a client. That is an expense. A cost of sale is something that only comes as a result of you doing a transaction. So for me, that's my transaction coordinator. I don't pay her every month. I only pay her for every deal she does for me. So that becomes a cost of sale. If I have a first-time home buyer and it's a single mom or dad, and I know that they scrape together every bit of cash and they got grants to get in a home, and we know it's an older HVAC or water heater, and I think about those cute kids that if something were to go wrong, they don't have the money to repair it. My closing gift may be, and it's my choice, a home warranty for a first year. That becomes a cost of sale. Okay, and I track those by deal as I'm doing it. Oh, I just bought them this. Let me put that on my list for my taxes so that I don't forget a year from now when I'm doing them. Okay. Your client gifts at closing, that's a cost. And again, you have to check what you can write off and what you can't based on your CPA or tax advisor. But those are costs of sales. If I buy Starbucks before we go look at 3 houses one morning, that's a cost of sale or a business expense, okay? You got to manage your money. And there's a chart of accounts in the MREA book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, that shows you where things should fall. And to run a healthy business, they say you should have 30% of, so you've got your revenue, 30% should go to expenses, 30% should go to cost of sales, and you should experience at least a 40% profit. If you're experiencing way higher, then you're not spending enough money on your clients or your business. Okay, so that's kind of, and it can vary slightly as your business grows. Any questions on the 6 core competencies? So it makes pretty much sense, right? So lead gen, capture and convert, we'll go through them again real quick. Present to buyers and sellers and get your agreements. Show buyers and market sellers' homes. Write and negotiate contracts. Coordinate the sale to the closing. Manage the money. Those are the things you should be doing in your business. Mindset matters. We talked about that. Marissa, will you read that for the group?
To achieve your highest potential, these 6 core competencies must be done consistently and done well. Gary Kelly.
Yes. We always talk consistency is key. And I like to use the analogy of working out. If I go work out one day and like just kill it for 3 hours and go, whoo, that was a great workout. Am I going to see results? If you work in your business 3 hours one day and you're like, I killed it. I did some lead gen, I worked in command. Boy, I feel like a great agent. Are you going to see results if you're not doing that consistently? No. You need to be consistent with your time and your effort, okay? that, and if you think of that wheel rolling, every time you're working in your business and on your business, you're getting that wheel going, you're getting the momentum. Every time you stop, it's like you gotta get the right equipment again, you gotta oil the chain, because now it's gotten dry and rusted. It takes you so much longer to get that momentum going again. So you need to work on your 6 core competencies consistently and do it well. Recognize yourself as a functionary versus a fiduciary. What does that mean to you guys? Do you know what a fiduciary is? What does it sound like just by definition of being functionary? Basic, right? What else?
Can I get a crack at it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Functionary versus fiduciary. It's just saying not being so robotic like by the book by functionary, and fiduciary is more, you're adequate
Yeah,
with your client and real
I
estate
think
etiquette.
yeah, that's a great way to put it. Functionary, by being robotic, it's over and over again, it's rote, it's, it's usually a lower skill level, right? You're gonna show a house, you know how to open the door, take a look around, let me know what you think. That's functionary. Fiduciary, let's go look at the house and see if it meets your needs and your criterion within what your loan officer says you can afford is a higher level. So yeah, that is definitely one way to look at it. Thanks to Mario. So if you look at so the list in the book says functionary is low level, low relationship, assumes little responsibility, low skill, responds to needs, processes data. So you get the point, right? You're just doing the task. A fiduciary is someone who works at a high level, high relationship, high responsibility, masters high skill, anticipates needs, big picture viewpoint. So you see the difference between a basic agent is functionary, a great agent is a fiduciary. I have some clients that I took to see a property this weekend that just happens to be listed by one of our agents. And I explained to them that I was going to need them to sign a designated agent agreement or disclosure so that they know we both came from the same office. And the husband said, well, what does that mean for me? Is there any concern that I should have that I've got to sign something? And I said, no, it's just informing you that she is working on behalf of her seller. My role is to be your fiduciary and to help you. And he goes, got it. He knew the term fiduciary. And I was just explaining to him that while we're in the same brokerage, my duty is to him. Okay. So make sure that you're not acting as a functionary and that you're connecting with your client. You are considering their needs and working as a fiduciary. All right. Demario, since you've been participating and we appreciate it when you're online, will you read that one for us?
Okay. Nothing else about your business will have a big impact on it as the number of leads you have.
That's right, Gary Keller. Nothing else matters to your business. I don't care how many people love you. I don't care if you go to the biggest church in Richmond and you go every Sunday and everybody sees you. If you don't have leads in your database to work and manage, you do not have a business. When I coach agents and I say, how many contacts do you have in your database? And they go, well, no, I mean, it's all right here. Right here is not gonna get it done. It needs to get in your database. Having it in your head isn't gonna get it done. It needs to be in your database. The size of your database is gonna decide the size of your checking account or savings account. The size of your database is gonna determine your business. Because then you're gonna be working it the way you should be, systematically, like a business. All right, who online will read this one for me?
I can. Accountable people achieve results others can only dream of.
Thank you, Lyndon. Why do you think accountable people achieve more? They're holding themselves accountable, right? What about if somebody else was holding you accountable? It makes a difference. If nobody knows you're trying to work out, or you tell yourself you're gonna go for a walk every day, if you don't tell anybody, it's easy to skip it. If you have someone helping hold you accountable, then you are more likely to achieve your goals, which is one of the reasons we do the 411. It is not so that I have papers to look at. It is not so that I can micromanage you. You guys are adults, you're business owners. But when I see on your sheet, and I'm going to use Demario sharing his trip idea, if Demario tells me his goals and wants me to hold him accountable, and I ask people, what does that look like for you? Some people are like, if you don't see me in the office 3 times a week, I need you to call me out and say that I'm not going to achieve my goals unless I'm coming in and learning and plugging in. Someone else may say, I'm good. I got my goals, but you know, I don't have to work. So just kind of be there when I need it. If you tell me what kind of accountability you want Peggy and I to have with you, we will do it. But if I see Demario plugging in and doing the work, and then he starts getting some things going, and then he disconnects, and he says he wants me to help him with that, I'm gonna say, so is that trip no longer important? Do you still want that trip or not, right? I told my kids one time when I was working on some business goals, I said, if I achieve this, I'm gonna take you guys down to Orlando to Disney World. They had never been. And I was a single mom with 3 kids. Do you think they had a different perspective when they asked me how my day at work went? Are we getting any closer to going on that trip? And of course, I didn't want to let them down, right? Now I knew it meant other things financially that they didn't understand. But to them, I was accountable for that trip. So when you talk about accountability, share your goals with people. People will help you get there, whether it's friends, family. Find the people who will advocate for you, that if you put an announcement that you're with KW, or I have goals this year to help 20 families, you're not saying to have 20 transactions. I want to help 20 families. See the difference? People will help you get there, okay? Choose an accountability partner. Find someone, whether it's in the office or out of the office, that is going to help you get there. They're going to check in with you. You can practice your presentations, all the things, and give specific feedback and have each other's best interest in mind. Sometimes when I see an opportunity, I will ask permission. Ellen, I heard you on the phone with a client. May I offer you some feedback? I ask permission. I don't just come in and go, hey, I heard you on the phone. You might want to try saying it this way, right? So be open to that. And it's risky for people to share stuff with you. So always thank them. Whether you agree with it or not, thank you for sharing that with me, Linda. I'll take that into consideration, right? Okay. As Peggy was saying, for those in the PC group, that is your team. Those are your people. Ellen's an individual agent. When she was going on a trip out of the country, she asked someone on the PC team to show a property for her. So she's not on a team. She doesn't have leverage, but she knows within this office, she can get help and support for what she needs. But choose an accountability partner to help you. All right, this is the daily success system. This is something that everybody in PC has heard Peggy and I talk about a lot. This is called the 10-4. There are 4 activities you should be doing 10 of. This only has the 3, and I'll tell you what the 4th one is. You should be having 10 conversations a day about real estate. That can be with somebody in the checkout line at Target, at Publix, whatever. That can be online. If you post something about grants that are available and someone texts you back or DMs you and you're having a 2-way, that is a conversation. It's just in writing. And based on everybody just using texting, so long as it's 2-way, that's a conversation about real estate. Everyone should have 10 of those a day. 5 may come organically, 5 may be from picking up the phone or sending some texts. You should have 10 contacts that you're adding to your database a day. The minimum number you should have in your database is 201. We know from looking at successful agents who run a business that the minimum number you should have in your database is 201. And I know if you looked at the number on your phone of contacts you have, it is well more than 201. You need to start thinking about who those people are going to be that you're going to add to your database. And you should be adding 10 more per day. So when you have 5 new conversations, 5 of them get added. You go through Facebook, you see someone that hasn't been added to your database yet. Okay. Yes, you should be writing 10 handwritten notes a day. Keep them in your car so that if you're driving somewhere and you're 10 minutes early, write out 1 note. Hey, Joe, it was great talking to you today. Thanks for catching me up on how things have been going with you. You know, love to get together soon. Doesn't have to be real estate, but it's how you make connections. And if you talked about, hey, Joe, you know, been thinking about you. What are you doing now? What's going on in your life? And you ask them those questions. 9 times out of 10, they're going to reciprocate and say, well, what's new with you? Well, I don't know if you know, but I'm in real estate now, loving it. They'll ask more questions if they want to know. So you don't have to be, again, realtor breath in your notes. When you run into someone at the store that you haven't seen in a while, write them a note. It was great running into you. You look fabulous. Glad to hear, you know, the kids are not terrors anymore, whatever. Write notes. That's how you connect with people. The last 10-4 is that you should be viewing 10 homes a week, not a day. That's the only one that's a week. You should be viewing 10 homes a day in the market. How are you going to help clients who go, I want this kind of home. We're thinking Powhatan, Chesterfield, Sandston, West End. If you don't start learning different pockets around Richmond and getting outside your comfort zone of what you know, how are you going to be able to help? It is tremendous when someone says, I want blah, blah, blah. And you go, you know, as a matter of fact, last week I went to an open house in Magnolia Green or Sandston or Goochland. And then you'll feel more comfortable with what certain price points can buy in certain areas. So someone who says, you know, I'm first time home buyer, I need something under 230. You gotta know where places are that they can go to find that, right? So the 10-4, you should be having 10 conversations a day. You should be adding 10 contacts to your database a day, writing 10 handwritten notes. There is so much power in that. When you go to the mailbox and you get all that stuff, what's the first thing you look for? Some handwritten. And when it is, you're opening it on the way back to the house. Okay. 10-5-1 is social media engagement. Again, this is all different ways to lead gen. Doesn't have to be picking up the phone. 10-5-1. You should respond with an emoji, like, heart, whatever, to 10 posts per day. It can be Instagram or Facebook. You should react to 10 of those a day. Comment on 5. Everybody's going to be posting now where their kids are going to be going to college. For those that are doing that, post. Oh, you know, congrats to little Susie. Congrats to little Johnny. You know, pick up a sticker and mail it to them, congratulating them, right? Comment on 5 and then send 1 DM. Demario, I saw your trip to South Africa. It looked amazing. I would love to hear about it. Okay. Post, like, comment, whatever. Shoot, like or emoji 10 things on social media. Comment on 5 and DM 1. Watch your relationships open up and be authentic, obviously. So many times I hear people say, I'm not going to put them in my command because I haven't run into them and I haven't talked to them in 3 years. I'm like, oh, what a great opportunity to call and catch up. They're like, I don't know, it feels weird. I'm telling you, when you call someone and say, Peggy, I know it's been 3 years since we've talked, but you've been on my mind. How are you and Joe doing? People are so grateful, and then they feel like crap that they weren't the one to reach out to you. Oh, I've been thinking about you too. I can't believe you called. Right? Just reconnect with people. Because what I always follow up with, okay, you don't want to call them or reconnect. How are you going to feel in 6 months when you see they bought a house and that could have been you helping them? Now, would you have wished that you had reached out? Right? Okay. You should be going to enrichments. Those are things that help you with your career, it could be networking, learning, appointments, agreements, and closings. But the success system, this 10-4 is what you should be focusing on day to day, as well as being in classes. So if you're in class in the morning, your lead gen is going to need to take place later. Typically, we say your lead gen should be the first thing you do, because then you own the day, right? And if your goal is to make calls till you get an appointment, that could be 5, it could be 50. But get appointments, get used to saying, let's meet for coffee. If you don't have money to be paying for coffee, because I know it all adds up, you can go broke 1 latte at a time. Ask to go to a park and go for a walk, whatever. But you need to be doing these things, and if you win the morning, you win the day. All right, KW Cares, Peggy went over that, I think, in her session on KW. You can donate a portion. I do $25 to $50 on all my transactions to KW Cares. They help agents in need, and it's a way that I feel good about if I'm fortunate enough to have a closing that I can make a contribution. That's up to you. But they do help Keller Williams. We have Keller Williams Next Generation. So imagine the stuff that we're learning about mindset and being responsible with our money. to teach the younger generation. So Keller Williams does have a program called KW Next Gen, which is young professionals and entrepreneurs under 30. I love this. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So when we say about writing your goals, we say be specific, and it has to be measurable. Because if you say, if Ellen just said, I want to improve my business this year, or I want to increase my number of transactions. Increasing and improving sounds great, but how are we going to measure it unless we put a number that she wants to hit 18, right? So make sure that when you're defining paying off debt, you have a very clear understanding, is that debt 5 grand or is it 15 grand or is it 50 grand? You've got to define your, quantify your goals. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And at the end, when we go, well, did you do it? Well, I improved it. I did one more. Is that really the intent, right? So make sure you put numbers with your goals. This is a really easy way to remember how to have conversations with people. So often people say, I don't know what to say. If you remember the acronym FORD, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. You want to get it so that it's a natural cadence when you're talking to people. You don't want to be like, okay, let me ask you now about your family. How's your family, right? No, it would be, hey, Marissa, how are you? How's the family? If you know the kids' names or the husband, what's Joe up to? What's, last time I talked to you, Susie was applying for colleges. Where'd she end up, right? Talk to people about their family. That lets their guard down and everybody wants to talk about their family. And then you can get into their occupation. Well, let me ask you, Linda, are you still working at, Altria? Are you still working wherever? What are you up to? And again, you're prompting them because 9 times out of 10, they'll reciprocate and ask you the same.
Social media has made this the easiest thing to know about.
Yeah.
It gives you everything to talk about.
Yeah, Ellen just said social media makes this the easiest. You can scroll through and go, okay, they went to the Bahamas, they went to Jamaica, little Johnny scored the winning goal for his middle school soccer team, whatever. So yeah, look at that. Recreation is gonna help you get to know people if you don't know. Hey, are you still into mountain climbing? Are you still into snowboarding? Have you taken any trips for fishing lately? Those kind of things. Take notes too. I have heard people that I'm on the phone with and they're going, and I can tell they're either typing another email and only half listening to me, or they're typing down what I'm saying. When you get off the phone, put in the things that you learned about them so that next time in command, when it says it's time to reach out to them again, it opens up and then oh, right, this is what was going on. And you can go, hey, last time we spoke, you said you were getting ready for your big trip. How did that go? Tell me about that. Family, occupation, recreation, and then dreams. Right? That could be the trip. That could be, hey, last time we spoke, you said that you were hoping that you and your husband are going to get enough from your taxes to maybe use for a down payment. Is that still a goal of yours? Yes. All right. Well, taxes are going to be coming up due. If you haven't done those yet, let's go ahead and grab coffee and talk about the process. If real estate comes up, they might have other dreams, but this is a really easy way for you to get into conversation with people. And like Ellen said, yes, do your research, look at Facebook. People put all sorts of stuff out there.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
So I take a maps class weekly, and they talk about the Ford method in literally every class in different ways. But One of the things they added to the Ford method that I thought was kind of helpful when maybe you don't have a ton to talk about with someone.
Yeah.
Coming from my background of not having huge relationships with a lot of my past clients, this helps. But, they used an example where they were calling someone and they're like, hey, have some clients that are new to town. I'm working with, a lot of transplants. I mean, say whatever.
Yeah.
It could be true, it doesn't have to be true.
Right.
And I know you guys are really well connected in this neighborhood. And you guys, have done so much amazing stuff to your house. I'm looking to put together a qualified list of professionals. And I thought you guys were the first people I thought of.
Oh, perfect.
Have you guys used a roofer or maybe a landscape person?
Yeah.
A tree, like an arborist, anything that maybe you guys can, send my way or,
Yeah.
now to put on my list, because I really, really trust you guys. And it's like, now you're looking at them as giving you answers, and people would love to brag about the person who just did their yard. You're also complimenting
Right.
them. It gave you a reason to call that wasn't about getting something from them for like your own pocket.
Right.
It was about giving to someone else.
Yeah, that's
Um,
great.
And I thought, and you could still go through some of those other
Yeah.
things, but when you have to call someone and it's not hitting the Ford, I thought that actually worked pretty well.
I think that's a great idea.
You
Yeah.
also then get a list of great qualified
Right.
contractors if you don't have that already.
Yeah, and it's funny because I had clients that called me like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I thought it was because like I had commented, her daughter's pregnant, this first grandchild, they had a shower. And I commented on her Facebook and I said, I know you're so excited, would love to catch up kind of thing. And my phone rang and it was her. And I thought she was calling me about that. And I said, hey, Marcia, how's it going? And she was like, oh my gosh, we need your help. And this happened and you're the first person that came to mind. I'm like, what's the matter? What's going on? And she's like, we've got a pipe that's leaking and it's spewing. And do you have a plumber? We thought you would probably have, and I do. And I said, I'm going to send you two. One of the two should be able to come out right away. And she, a couple hours later said, oh my gosh, so-and-so came, took care of the problem. Thank you so much. So that's what you want, is to be top of mind, but like Ellen said, you're building your arsenal of resources by complimenting someone else. And they don't even have to have been your client, right? They may have bought 6 years ago and they're doing work on their house. Compliment, yeah, and follow up. I think that's a great idea.
It snowballs too, right? So they were even saying from there, you then go, okay, they gave you the landscape guide that they use bi-weekly. Now you can go call the landscape guy and say, hey, Allison gave me your number. Allison
Yeah.
Jones gave me your number. And said, you guys do fantastic work. I'm a realtor. I'm looking to pass some business to you guys. Tell me more about what you do. What's a good client for you? Now all of a sudden you have a contractor referral potentially. You made Allison look good.
Right.
Next time they go to Allison, they're gonna be like,
Oh,
thank you so much for
Yeah.
passing my name on to whoever. And then for the people you maybe sold a house to in the last year who said they had goals of doing things to the
Yeah.
yard, now you can call them and be like, I got this awesome referral and I wanted to just put it, I'm gonna text it to you because I think it might be someone, it snowballs into like 2 more connections.
absolutely. That's great. And then you could even, if you're doing a newsletter, featured vendor of the month with spring coming up. If you want landscaping for the season or, whatever, here's a contractor, right? And then you're offering value, you're supporting other local businesses. I think that's great, Ellen. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Your database, start with your sphere, people that you know, tag them. I have a lot of friends in Virginia Beach, where I'm from. So I have Virginia Beach tags so that I can send something out and say, hey, if you're looking to buy or sell, I have contacts anywhere. And I had a friend in Virginia Beach who is military called me because I reminded them that I can help anywhere. And they said, hey, this guy I was in the Army with is retired and he's moving to the beach to teach at the Joint Forces College. Can you help recommend a realtor for him? I said, absolutely. I called him and his wife, got to know him a little bit, put him in touch. I called a KW office down there. I said, I want somebody that may be ex-military as an agent that gets the whole military thing. and they gave me a great agent, put them in touch. I did not know they were planning to buy an $800,000 house, but that was one heck of a referral from letting people know that I can help anywhere. A friend moved from Orange County, California to Florida and bought a $2.5 million house. That was a referral worth making, right? But I keep in touch with those clients. I put them in my database. And I remind them, if you know anyone else, if you have friends or family, I can put them in touch with somebody good like I did for you. So add people, start with your sphere, add them to your database. All right, what ahas have you had from this session? And we're gonna wrap up.
I loved her, addition to the board. Cause we always think about making referral partners.
Yes.
To, you know, the ones we get from the office, the ones that people tell you about, but putting it on the client, it's like you said, it just continues to build that rapport until it's like, oh, this two-way, like it feels more, friend and family
Right.
vibe than just client and
Right.
go to your house, you know, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a deeper connection, like she said, and then it leads to more connections. Yeah, thank you, Marissa. What else? What other ahas have y'all had from this section? Okay, all right, feel free. I want you to think about, how has your thinking changed today? With mindset, setting your goals, knowing your numbers of what you need to achieve, and what ideas are new. And if something hits you guys through Ignite, write it down, make a note. And if you're getting touched by something and you're like, oh, I need to do that, or I need to have a positive affirmation, make sure you follow up and do the things. Otherwise, it's been a waste of being in class unless you implement. Right? Education without implementation is just entertainment. So I want you to think about what you feel differently about, what was meaningful, and how your behavior is going to be different going forward. I can't stress enough about being on time. You can't fix late, and I know we all run into, it's Monday and traffic and all the things, but remember that how you present yourself is how you're going to come across to clients and other agents in the office. These are top agents that are going to be teaching the other Ignite classes. So please be on time and be that CEO that you are. One thing that I want to share with you guys, this is our KW Buffalo here for those online. I got him at family reunion. Yes, I am a, 57-year-old that is buying a stuffed animal, which I normally would not do. Do y'all know the story behind the buffalo? So, a year or two ago at family reunion, Gary Keller, when he came out on stage, had a shirt that had a buffalo, head down with a storm. And the saying is, charge the storm. The story is that every other animal, when it senses a storm coming in nature, it runs away. They know the storm's coming and it runs away. They run away. And the storm catches up and will stay on top of them as they're running, it's over top of them going. The buffalo is the only animal that turns and faces and charges the storm. It runs into the storm. And studies have shown, or for some reason the buffalo knows, that by charging the storm, they go through it and the storm goes over and they're out the other side quicker. So when the economy's doing things, when inventory's low, when there's all this noise in the media, charge your storm, whatever it is, come out the other side, right? Don't be afraid to make that tough call to a client about something that's come up. So we talk about charging the storm. So remember that you have the tools, the education, the resources, people here to help you through whatever situation in real estate and in life too. Psychology major, minor with business comes in handy quite a bit, either with our clients, with each other. But just know you've got resources here to help you through that, okay? Don't forget your success system of your 10-4 that we went over, the 10 things you should be doing, 10 of. Do not call list. And this is exactly this quote, what Ellen said earlier. So I'm going to let you read this one, Ellen.
I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with.
Right. If you're going to engage in the spirit of contribution, helping them with whatever it is, then you're not going to be afraid to pick up the phone and help them, right? So tell yourself that, and don't be afraid to get into relationships. And then this is why it's a full day of class. There are a bunch of activities throughout Ignite. Some activities you will do, bring thank you cards. Sometimes they'll say, write some thank you cards. You know, good opportunity to get to know the agents in the office who are teaching. When these other agents are taking time out of their lead gen to teach you guys, great opportunity because you never know when they're going to be on the other side of a deal. Practice your conversation list. Make a list of the first 10 people that you think of you should call. Start each of your call sessions by calling someone that knows and loves you and say, hey, Kelly, look, I'm going to be making calls. I wanted to start with you. Can I practice? Right? And then they're going to remember and they're going to tell their friends and family about you, but start on a happy note. They say that when you're making calls, you should stand up. Your energy's different. You'll see agents walking around the office sometimes on the phone or in the parking lot. Look at yourself on your camera and go, ooh, I look grumpy. That comes across. But if you're smiling, if you've just listened to your happy music, your energy will be different. So yeah, celebrate your success. And then your next session is connect with your market and define your value. That's going to be on Wednesday. Allie Taylor is teaching that. She's phenomenal. She built a great business. She came in as a new agent and quickly started building a very strong business based on her sphere and knowing her value and connecting with her groups of people. So that's Wednesday. During the Ignite classes, Mondays and Wednesdays, those are your PC classes until Ignite's over, and then we'll go back to our regular schedule. Tonight, I do have Ignite at night, or not Ignite at night. I have PC at night for the dual career agents. So that's 5:30 to 6:30 tonight. And then just keep up with the calendar on the portal and the printed copies so that you can keep up with Ignite and all the different classes and what the topics are. Okay. Yes. Uh-huh.
With the note cards, sending out notes to people, would you advise to stay away from branded note cards?
Yeah, I would say don't spend money you don't have right now and ordering specialty. You can find on Amazon, Walmart, there are tons of stores that have blank note cards. I think that's just as effective as you taking the time to have branded ones. If you already have a brand, I don't want you to add 2 months into sending out notes because you're developing the logo, getting them printed. Don't spend money until you're making money. Any kind of card will do. Yeah, yes,
So if we're like, just getting
Uh-huh.
started and we don't really have people to be sending the note cards to, who are we sending them to?
friends and family, start reaching out to people and let them know that you're getting into real estate, or just reach out to them and check on them up to the board and start building that database. Yep. Any questions online? Well, I want to thank you guys for being here. And hopefully we'll see you on Wednesday at the next Ignite. Let Peggy and I know though, if you need anything in between these classes, okay? All right, bye guys.
So one of the
Thanks,
things
Patrice.